All right, so I know this has nothing to do with our class today, and you might think that I'm a little strange after this, and that's okay. For you to judge me, that's all right. I own my weirdness. But as an avid book reader, I don't know if other avid readers feel the same way, but I really love the smell of books. Like going into the bookstore is like one of the best smells ever, because I just like the smell of paper. And sometimes, yes, I do fan my books because it really has a really good smell. The paper white smell wakes up. But I'm like the weirdo that decided to look on Amazon and be like, hey, is there such a thing as paper scented candles? And I bought some. We're gonna see how they work. I'm gonna have one that says that it's antique books smell here. I've got one that's a new book smell. And I've got a antique scroll candle. So I don't know if any of them are actually going to smell like paper or not, but it's by a brand named Old Castle Candles, so that seems like it's kind of cool. I mean, fantasy like title for their company, so we're gonna see. Anybody who wants to know if they smell like paper, if anybody else out there likes the paper smell, let me know and I'll let you know what I think of it. And I guess let's, on that note, actually get into our today's class. Hi! Welcome back, Fantasy Fiction Fanatics. It's great to see you again, and I hope you're doing well. Today we are going to be discussing the next set of chapters for Moon Called, chapters 11 through 14. I really hope you're enjoying the book so far, and I'm sorry class has been postponed for a little bit, but we are back and ready to go for our next discussion. Alright, so let's go ahead as always and start with our recap. We had quite a few things that happened this set of chapters. We have Sam and Mercy who finally escape from the vampires, and they are given an address after the fact of where the werewolves were supposed to be staying that had paid tribute to the vampires in order to stay in the territory. Then we have that Sam is forced through his change after he processes through the enthrall and it's gone out of his system. He automatically changes into a wolf, and Mercy does take a leap of faith and stays with him. Luckily, he doesn't end up hurting her. And once they get through the part with the cop pulling them over, or not really pulling them over, but pulling over beside them and talking to her, she gets back to Warren's house to find that Warren and Daryl are fighting each other because Warren will not let Daryl see Adam. So Mercy and Sam and Adam himself break up the fight and explain the situation to the few members of the pack that are there at Adam's house, and dissolve the situation between Warren and Daryl and the little bit of what's happening with Mercy, because no one was really sure what was happening with Mercy either. Mercy ends up meeting with Adam's old army buddy, Christensen, who they realize is involved with the plot, and his grandsons. And they explain what's going on with the situation. They realize that they're on the wrong side, and they're giving information to Mercy. And Mercy finds out that Adam has been captured and put in the same place that his daughter Jessie is at. So Mercy and the pack and Sam decide to form a plan in order to get them out with the help of Christensen and his grandsons. And Mercy breaks in to the cell that they're holding Jessie and Adam at, and is currently helping them to escape. And she's in there waiting with them. And that's where we leave it. So we kind of leave it at a little bit of a cliffhanger, at least for our discussions, as we have a point where it's very intense and you're not really sure what's happening, and I asked you to stop. Of course, we're getting pretty close to the end, and we are at the point where we're at our conflict, the main portion of our conflict, the highest point where we're going to see how everything turns out in the end, whether they're going to be able to escape or not. So that'll be for the next class. But for this class, I have a couple of topics. I don't actually have tons of smaller topics today. I just have a couple of big topics that really are important to this set of chapters, and also is important based on things that happened previous chapters. So it's kind of all culminating together into where we see some really big topics and themes happening in this book as a whole, especially these chapters. It comes to light. And the first one I want to talk about is going to be politics. So politics is really, really big in this book, and it's clear now that politics is actually the main conflict in our story, for at least for this particular one. We don't know if it will roll over into book 2 or not, but for book 1, politics is a huge problem, and the whole reason that this conflict exists, the whole reason that this book exists, because without politics, nothing would be happening. Let me go ahead and explain a little bit about that. So we finally realized that the whole point of Jesse's abduction and that fight with Adam's house, and a little bit of the part that dealt with Mac, even though that's a little bit of a separate situation with the whole drugging of werewolves and those kinds of things. But the main portion of the story, even a little bit with Mac, but the main conflict that's happening so far is about politics and about Adam, trying to get Adam to be Marok, which is very interesting considering that when we've when we read these chapters, Adam, even though he is 4th in line, he is not 2nd in line for being Marok. So I don't know how they think that Adam's going to get through 3 other people to become Marok. It's a little bit of their logic. The rebels have a little bit of skewed logic there, but they all want a change in leadership, and that is why politics is so important, because the werewolves have their own politics in this story, and because of those politics and because of their own governmental structure, it's not really an official governmental structure that they've created for themselves, and it's kind of a dictatorship in the fact that the Marok is the main leader and not everybody has a say in what's going to happen. But they want a change in leadership. They want a change in the politics. They want a change in the policies that Bran is going to be putting out, which is coming out to the public about werewolves. Just like the Fae did for their kind, they now want the werewolves to step forward and be like, we exist. And the people who are against that are acting up and trying to get Adam into the position of Marok in order to change that fact. Another kind of flaw in our rebels' plan is that they haven't asked Adam if he would choose a different path from being out in the open or not. They haven't gotten any details on that from him as far as the text has made it seem like. It seems they're just like, oh, well, Sam and Charles, who are the next in line to become Marok in their dominance, is going to be loyal to Bran, and they're also the ones that are, at least on Sam's part, he's also thinking about coming out to the public and how important that would be. But they don't know what Adam would want or not want. So they might, if they do succeed, have Adam be Marok and then have the same thing happen. They don't actually have any proof that he would make a different decision. So we don't really know how they decided that Adam was going to be the one to change the direction that things are going. They don't even seem to know whether, going out to the public is actually a better choice than not being out to the public. They just don't want to be in the public's eye. They don't want to be known. And so they have staged this whole operation of trying to get Adam in the position of Marok, which has led to the conflict at Adam's house, the kidnapping of Jesse, and now the subsequent kidnapping of Adam. And so we see that werewolves are, in this whole topic here, we see how different the politics come for werewolves than we have for humans. And the fact that, sure, we have our similarities in the fact that we have our leadership, and we've got the next in lines for leadership, just like we have, for example, in the US, our president and our vice president, who, if something happened to the president, the vice president would step up, and so on and so forth. So we do have similarities, just as any government system has those basic structures. But here, as a werewolf, we have more of a dictatorship. In our werewolves, we have dominance, where not anybody can just, run for office. Not anyone can just magically decide they're going to be the leader. It's all based on dominance and how much they can control the werewolves below them. Especially since werewolves are have such the animal side of them, and that the dominance is what helps control animals of those who are weaker than them. That dominance is actually very, very important in that society, and very, very key to being able to be a leader at all. Because if another wolf is more dominant, they cannot take answers they cannot take orders, no matter how much the human side of them doesn't mind doing that. Their wolf side will not allow that. The animal nature is what changes the way that the politics can work for them, if that makes any sense. And also, it's different in the fact that these rebels, we already know, are not going to be handled by a justice system. They're just probably going to be dispatched. There's going to be no jail. There's not going to be any trials. There's not going to be anything but judgment from the Marok and the handling out of that judgment, which is going to be death. We already know from previously in this book that werewolves are much more violent society, much more black and white in their punishments. So obviously not everything leads to death. That's not always the case, but something this extreme and something that's possibly could expose them because they're making such a ruckus in, destroying somebody's house. That might be noticed by somebody who is not a werewolf. Kidnapping people. You never know. Something might be catching the authorities of humans, especially because humans are also working with them. What if a human betrays them? There's so many more layers that go into what's happening that there's no way for there to be anything but death for the people who are involved in this situation. So politics is basically the whole reason that this plot line exists. That we have anything happening at all at this point is based off of these people don't like the politics that are happening right now in their society, and they're trying to make that change by doing something radical and kidnapping and killing and testing drugs and those kinds of things. So it's really interesting to see how even for our fantasy story, the main topic that comes up and the main reason we're having these problems is politics within the werewolf society. The next topic is going to be our biggest topic for this set of chapters, and that is the theme of loyalty and the actual act of loyalty in this book. And this might be something that transcends to next books. We'll have to see. But I've noticed, especially in these chapters, that and also previously in the book, but we especially have a bunch of the theme of loyalty. As a werewolf society, loyalty is a huge thing, which we see very clearly with several scenes with Warren and with Mercy not trusting the pack, and the trust between Christensen, who you don't really know very well, all the loyalty that people have for other people in this book. So let's go ahead and start with Mercy. Mercy is somebody that you can already tell has lots of loyalty and really cares about the people who she considers are hers. For example, at the start when Jesse's first taken, we know that Jesse means a lot to her, even if she's not always super close to Adam. At least she says she's not at this point, though, as we discussed in the last class, they do seem to know each other a lot better than we originally thought. But as we get with Jessie, she's very close to Jessie. She really likes Jessie a lot. And even Adam wants her on the case of finding his daughter, because he knows that she will care what happens to her. So Mercy is very, very loyal to Adam and Jessie. She's been helping him the whole time. Adam specifically, she's been helping him the whole time since he's gotten hurt, taking him to the Morocco, taking him to get fixed, and helping save Jessie, and that being her top priority after getting Adam to safety and making sure he's not going to just rip everybody apart with his wolf being out of control. So you can see that even though she's not the closest to Adam, she is very loyal to Adam and very, very loyal to Jessie, them both. She decides when she finds out the whole them being locked up and where they're going to be, she knows for certain she does not want them in that room alone for one more second than they have to be. So she risks her life to go into their cell and possibly be caught, possibly be killed, possibly risking a lot of people and a lot of the success rate of saving them by going in and being with them, because she is that loyal and that caring of them. She doesn't leave them tied up when she gets there. She instantly knows, even though the plan was to keep them tied up, make sure that nobody notices, says that they're getting loose, anything like that, she unties them immediately. And it's like, to heck with it, they deserve better than to be tied up for 2 hours while we're waiting for the rescue team to show up. And so we really see her loyalty throughout this whole book to Adam and Jessie. Even though she's, like we've talked before, at this point she's not overly fond of Adam, she is still loyal to him and his daughter and really cares about them, even if she's not super close. She shows loyalty to the Morocco, to Bran, even though she's not, she's not very happy with Bran. She's not necessarily Bran's super close to Bran either, but she shows loyalty to him by, not going against him and what he wants. Though technically she's not a werewolf, she still doesn't question what he's doing, doesn't try and get in his way, just like the werewolves and the humans that are trying to get in his way at this point. And she trusts him. She brings Adam to the Morocco and knows that he's going to take care of him and to help the situation instead of hinder her or hurt Adam or anything else. She gives trust to him, and that trust is the same as being loyal, because you can't really trust somebody if you're just if you just think that they don't have your best interests at heart, which gives really hard to give loyalty to somebody who you don't trust. Did that make sense? I'm not sure if I just kind of talked myself around or not. If you have a question about what I was trying to say about trust and loyalty being combined, please let me know down below. I will totally understand and reiterate myself. And then we have loyalty to Warren, who we see also with trust by trusting the fact that he would not betray Adam, but also the loyalty that she has to him by telling Kyle his secret, because she knows that he can't tell him, knows that he's scared to tell him, but she goes and chooses Warren's happiness over what Warren thinks is right at this point, and risks herself but in order to tell Kyle the secret of being a werewolf. So that's showing her loyalty, how close she is, how much Warren means to her, by remaining loyal and taking a leap of faith for him. So there's Mercy. So far, book 1, what we've seen of her and her loyalty, and she has given quite a bit of loyalty to the people she's close to. And even some people, like the Morocco, she's not overly close to, even though she sees the Morocco as a father figure at times, or somebody who's a leader. She's not super, super close to him either. Then we see pack loyalties, meaning werewolf loyalties. We've got Adam, who is loyal to the Maroc. He does not want a part of this plan. He does not want to be Maroc. He does not want to go against the Maroc. He is 100% part of the Maroc's packs and has no problems with that. And he trusts the Maroc to know what's best for their kind, for them, trusts in the fact that everything's going to be okay. He's going to make the good decisions. So we see Adam's loyalty to the Maroc. Then we see Daryl's loyalty. His loyalty to Adam, who is his alpha. He fights Warren because he believes that Warren is keeping secrets and not letting him see Adam, who could be in danger. So originally we think, oh, well, maybe Warren is fighting Daryl is fighting Warren because he wants to get to Adam and he could be the betrayer. But we find out that's not the case. And we find out that really he is concerned about who has betrayed Adam and wants to fight Warren, thinking he might have betrayed Adam. Now he is keeping secrets. We see Daryl's loyalty to Adam in the fact that he demands loyalty of people to Adam. So not only does he give his loyalty to Adam, he demands loyalty from the other pack members, like Warren, and insists that they're going to happen. And we know for a fact, once we find out who was the one that was disloyal, that he's going to kill them. It's obvious that the way Mercy mentions that he will never be asked to help with any pack-related thing again. That it's very final, and you can't come back from it. Daryl would have killed Warren if he had found out that Warren was not loyal to Adam and was trying to do something against him or his pack. So we really see Daryl's loyalty in this set of chapters, which we questioned it in the beginning, in previous chapters, because Mercy heard some comments and she wasn't sure what they meant. But now we see full force. He is loyal, loyal, loyal. And the loyalty Adam has from his second is very, very big, because otherwise, if his leadership is disloyal, how is he going to have his rest of his pack be able to follow him and to be loyal? Whew, all right. Next, we see the loyalty of Warren. So we see previously in our chapters that both Mercy and Adam are very close to Warren, and they just automatically know and assume, based on who Warren is and Warren's circumstances, that he is loyal, and they bring Adam to him. So we see that his loyalty is trusted and not questioned. It's just assumed that he would be loyal to a point, and he has shown that loyalty is in fact the case. He obviously has reasons why he doesn't want to lose Adam and his pack, because that's very important to him to have, and he has very limited options of having that elsewhere. But we see that he truly cares about Adam, and obviously he cares about Mercy as well, but enough for him to go against his whole pack and to risk being seen as a traitor to help Adam out, because he is that loyal and that strong of a connection to him. We see him being strong in the face of the resilience and questioning of his loyalty through Darren. He's going to fight him to the death. He would have fought him to the death to keep Daryl away from Adam until he had the go-ahead to show them that Daryl was loyal, and that the pack, at least the pack around him, is also loyal and is able to see Adam and not going to hurt him. So not only was it assumed, it was proven, and it was fought against. He was fought, he could have died, but he stood his ground and was like, no, Adam comes first. I don't care if you think I'm disloyal or not. I am 100% loyal, and I'm going to fight for Adam until the end, until I know otherwise. And then we see through that whole scene, especially with Daryl, that his loyalty is established, 100% strong, 100% accepted, 100% known by Daryl and the pack. Daryl instantly forgives him, instantly is like, hey, I get it, you were doing the right thing. Instantly trusts and says to everybody else, yes, Warren is good. I didn't understand at first. Warren was doing what was right, and Warren was doing what should be expected of any wolf in his pack, to defend his alpha and his decisions and his concerns. So, we see Adam, who's the highest point, at least in his pack, have loyalty to his uppers. We see both his top 2 wolves give his loyalty to Adam in these chapters. So, really, really strong bonds here in the pack at this point. Give me just 1 sec, I'll be right back. Oh, sorry, I just need a quick drink here. Okay. Oh. I don't know if you know this, but it's really hard to just keep talking for 40 minutes straight at times, so I had to take a quick breather there. Alright, so we've seen Mercy, who's not affiliated really with any pack, but, well, I mean, she's affiliated with packs, but she's not actually part of any packs, the Merokes or Adams. But we see her giving her loyalty to both, and people inside of his pack and his Adam's pack and family. So then we see Adam, his loyalty, and we see his 2 next in line of his pack being loyal to him. So we see lots of good options of loyalty. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the opposite side of loyalty. We see the breaking of people's loyalty. So we have John Kavanaugh, I think is how his last name would be pronounced, and he is the betrayer in Adam's pack. So they were correct. There was somebody who was against Adam in his own pack, and that's why they showed up right after the pack meeting, and that's how they knew exactly where Jesse was going to be, and all of these other things that we were concerned about and wondered if it was a pack thing, and it was. He was the one that was selling them the property, and he was the a realtor that sold the werewolves the property that they're using to hide Jesse and Adam at this point. So we see the break of loyalty that John has for Adam personally. Not only that, to the Meroke as well, but to see that he would break his bond with his alpha and kidnap his daughter and help kidnap him and try and force him into something that he hasn't agreed to, shows that he has not had the loyalty for Adam that the other pack members do and that other people do. He might see himself as being loyal by being like, hey, I'm giving you an upgrade, but really he's loyal to what he wants, and he's going to get it no matter what. He didn't have any, at this point, since we haven't seen him, we don't know exactly all of his role, whether it was just selling that or if he's going to be there. We don't know exactly what's going on with John and his contribution, but he obviously doesn't have any problems with kidnapping Jesse, because Jesse's been kidnapped for a little while now. He hasn't tried to let her go or try and let Adam know. He hasn't changed his mind. He hasn't shown any portion of loyalty that he would have to Adam other than to stab him in the back and kidnap his daughter and kidnap him and being part of this plot to get him to usurp his own loyalty, Adam's own loyalty, to the Meroke and take over all of the US packs. So we really see that John's loyalty has been broken from his pack leader. And as an extension, he's broken his loyalty to the Meroke, to his leadership, to his kind, I guess, the US, at least the US portion of the werewolves. He has broken his loyalty to them by challenging the leadership that has so far been fair and good and kind to them and really helped them so far. So he has no loyalty to the person directly above him and no loyalty to the Meroke, who is his main superior, his sense of government or leadership in his werewolf world. So we don't know his motivations at this point. We don't know how he feels about anything. Like I said, we'll see if in these last chapters we do end up finding out anything, or if he will just disappear with Daryl's help. We'll see how that goes. Now, The next person we have is Gary, who is Wallace's son, who we find out is the leader of this operation. And part of the reason why Gary has not seen his son, even though he knows that he's going to be being killed soon because he can't control his wolf. And he has broken his loyalty to the Merroque because he believes that the Merroque is no longer working correctly. He's no longer doing what needs to be done as a leader. He does not want to come out to the public, and he has decided to take matters in his own hands to try and change that, to try and usurp the leadership. What am I trying to say? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Usurp the leadership of this this world, pretty much the whole world, trying to keep everybody, all the humans and everything, in the dark about themselves. So he is taking everything into his own hands, creating followers, creating his own people to try and change what's happening. So Gary is, sadly, as we knew, at least his father is part of the Merroque's pack. And it sounds like, even though we don't know him specifically, that Gary is also part of that pack. He was just away on business or whatever else that he was doing. So he is, his direct alpha is the one that he is betraying. The direct alpha and the alpha to all of the kind. He decides that he knows better what's best for them. So he is broken loyalty to the Merroque, which is gonna be a very sad day for him when he can't escape the fate of betraying the Merroque. We'll see what happens with him, and we'll see if we actually get to personally meet him, hear him talk about it, see how he got the ideas that he had or not. We don't actually know what prompted him in all of this. Obviously he doesn't want to be out to the public, but we don't know what actually drove him to start this whole thing and to try and get rid of Bran. We'll see if we do. We might not. We might. We'll just have to see in these last couple chapters. And then last but not least, we see the loyalty of Christensen and his grandsons, which this is where we see loyalty kind of flip back and forth. We see that he was originally on one side and now he is on the other side, that he has seen the facts, heard what's happening, or seen what's actually happening with his loyalty, and he has changed it because he didn't realize what was going on with him. His grandsons didn't realize what side they were on and what choice they were making. And now that they realize what choice they were making, they have decided to be loyal to Adam instead, and loyal to the concepts that they are trying to save. So it's really interesting. We've got the good loyalties, the people who are strong with their loyalties, strong with their friendships, strong with their relationships. And then we see the couple that are against loyalties, that are breaking their loyalty away from who they should be loyal to or who they have originally said they are loyal to. And we've got the in-between, the rogue werewolves who aren't part of any pack, and they're wishy-washy between what loyalty they're going to give, and they have finally decided it's going to be to Adam. Hopefully they don't change their mind midway, but it seems like we can trust them and their new loyalty at this point. They have helped them so far, and they do have a connection. Adam and Christensen do have a connection that we're hoping that loyalty is sticking to. Whew, okay, so we've done a lot of discussing loyalty so far in these chapters and in this book in general. Please let me know if you have any comments, questions, concerns about loyalty down below. I'd love to hear about it. I would love to have a discussion with you, hear your thoughts and takes on it, see what you think of what I was saying about it, whatever you want to comment on. If I wasn't clear on any part of it, let me know. I would be happy to have a discussion with you about it. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to building of suspense. That's our last main topic for today. And the reason I wanted to talk about that is because we have had our talks of Dragonlance and everything like that, and it's a much longer book, much more complicated plot lines, at least at this point. With this particular book, we'll see how Mercy's books evolve. But we do have a much quicker, because it's a shorter book, much quicker, sorry, I feel like I'm not talking very well today. And I also can tell that my light is slowly fading, so I'm also sorry about that. Much quicker escalation. Oh my gosh, I can't talk all of a sudden. Escalation? Is that what I'm thinking of? I think that's what I'm thinking of. We see it go really fast up to our point of suspense, our conflict, and then we're going to see how our conflict resolution happens. But so far we're in the middle of the conflict and it's come up real quick. Like, she is in here and we are on the verge of discovery at this point. There's a couple times where she's hiding in that closet in that room with Adam and Jesse and hoping to hope that the guy doesn't turn around and see her. So we've really built up suspense, or at least Patricia has built up suspense really, really well. From being kind of at a low point and to really ramp it up high and be like, are we doomed? We are now on a roller coaster and we're going to see where we end. So she could be caught at any moment. The plan could fail at any moment. At any point, you know, the Christensen and his grandsons could turn on them. At any point, something could go wrong and it could be a disaster and all of them could die. So we really are building suspense. We're really building that hold your breath factor. Hopefully everything goes good and smooth, because, you know, most of the well-laid plans, even just for normal mundane things, usually end up terrible and kaput. And we don't want that to happen this time, because we want our heroes to win and for them to escape and for everything that suck. So we do have the hope that there's another book. There's more books to come, so we really hope that at least Mercy doesn't die, because otherwise what's the next book going to be about? But you don't really know. You don't really know what's going to happen next. So we really keep us suspended as a reader, anticipating, wanting to know what's going to happen, wanting to know where we're going to go with this, how it's going to happen, is everything going to work out, what bumps in the road we're going to have. So we really hold our breath and we're really just like, Mercy, make it out, make it out. At least that's how I am when I stopped at our chapter 15, because I do reread it again before I talk to you about it, make my notes, all that kind of stuff to prep for the class. And even I didn't want to stop. Once I reached chapter 15, I was like, what? How did I make us stop at this point? But at the same time, I was like, I understand. I've got to leave some for the next class discussion. But yeah, so even me, I was like, do I really have to put the book down? Do I really have to stop? Is this really where I'm leaving everybody? So Patricia really does a good job of keeping us in suspense by having so many things that could go wrong, so many points where everything could blow up in our faces, specifically Mercy's face, and that it all could just turn sour, that we really, really feel like we're in trouble right along with the characters. Whew, I know that was kind of a briefer topic, not tons and tons to discuss, but we all know kind of that feeling, all that quick build-up that we've had by reading it. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns on that as well, just since it's a little bit more of a shorter topic. If you want me to go a little bit more in depth, talk a little bit more about it, whatever else, go ahead and let me know, and I would be happy to do that. And then we've got our nitty-gritty. There's a couple of things I'd like to just point out, not necessarily have a question about or anything like that, but I think are important for us to keep in mind as we go forth. You never know what's going to be important, but there are things that, you know, when you're reading along that just stick out to you, and that's usually what the nitty-gritty is, or that are questions that I'm throwing out into the void for discussion, hopefully with you guys. I feel like one of the points that really stood out to me is that Adam has a picture of Mercy in her bedroom, his bedroom. And I think that's really interesting, that she keeps saying, oh, he's claimed me as his mate, but that's just because, you know, werewolves and coyotes don't mix. And that seems like, oh, she's just throwing away this something that seems significant. And then she sees his bedroom and there's a picture of her. And again, it's like, that seems like that's pretty significant. That doesn't seem like something we should be throwing away. But she just kind of glosses over it. She does take a moment and pause and be like, oh, that's new. I didn't know about that. But then she kind of just chucks it away with obviously other things going on. That's kind of understandable, but at the same time, I think she's glossing over something that could be important. Don't know for sure. We'll see. Maybe won't see. I do feel like I have a question for you guys, since we also saw that Sam's wolf still sees Mercy as his mate, or at least recognizes her enough not to maul her to death after he was forcibly changed. We kind of have a two possible romance situation here. Which one do you think is gonna work? Do you think either of them is gonna win out? Do you think... I don't know. What do you guys think? I can't say anything. So I just love to hear your guys' thoughts and why you think either one would work, or why neither would work, or what's gonna happen with that whole triangle thing. The next thing that was just kind of a throw it out there is I find it very interesting that Sam loves kids and likes being treated like a dog. So obviously he likes kids. We already know he wants to have kids with Mercy, and that was part of the reason why he got together, or wanted to get together with her, is the possibility of having kids that could be a little bit more durable, I hate to say that, but a little bit more durable to his world, the world that he lives in as being a werewolf. But I think it's really interesting that he actually likes, in his werewolf form, being very docile, playing around with kids. Is it still part of his nature of just loving kids? Or what, especially with the werewolf being more of an animal side, and him being so very dominant, it doesn't seem like he would really like to be treated like an actual dog. Even adults, he doesn't mind being treated and pet like a dog. So I find that that's really interesting to see the duality of him being the second most dominant werewolf after his father, but then also in his wolf form to be so docile and so coherent of who's around him and what actual, I guess you'd say, human-like thoughts or human-like actions. He doesn't attack them. He's just very docile and doesn't care. People pet him or wants to be around him or roughhouse him or anything. So I think that's really interesting note for his character. What do you think? Any thoughts on that? Let me know. Okay, and then this one is the one where I actually have a kind of a question. So there's a lot of tension with Adam's pack members to Mercy, especially the women. There's a couple of women that she says she gets along with, but she's not sure if that's going to be the case anymore, especially after the whole breaking their silence stuff. But it seems like there's a tension even between the males and her from Adam's pack. Even though Adam has claimed her as his mate, maybe it's because she's not actually his mate, even though he's claimed that. So there's a duality to it. But I don't really know if that's true or not. I don't really know where the tension comes from, especially since there's the tension in the Morocco's pack from the women. There's not as much tension with the males in that pack, but there's still tension between Mercy and the pack. So why do you think that's the case? Obviously, we've mentioned that coyotes and wolves don't really get along, they don't mix as well. But is that really the only case that everyone would be that against her? You know, I mean, it doesn't seem like everyone should be quite so against her and want her to not be involved in their business and to be so accusatory toward her, you know what I mean? Obviously, we did talk about a little bit about having children, which they can't have children. But again, is that really enough to really hate her or to be so spiteful toward her and so against her? When, as we can see, all she really cares about is Adam and Jesse, which you would think, even as an outsider, if somebody really cares about your alpha who you care about, then you wouldn't hate them. I don't know. I think it'd be interesting to have a discussion on what you think comes of that. And we'll see if later in the books that will come up again and we'll get more answers or get more details on that. We'll just have to see. All right. Whew. That is the end of my main topic points for this set of chapters. Of course, if there's anything I missed or anything that you would like me to go over or discuss with you, you are welcome to comment down below, or you're welcome to comment on my Twitter. Let me know on my Twitter, or give me an email to my videos emails. whatever you'd like to do to contact me. I would really love to hear from you, really like to know your thoughts, really like to have a discussion with you and learn together, or to discuss something that you think that I missed that could be important. Anything and everything. Any comments, questions, concerns, whatever it may be, let me know. I'd love, love, love to hear from you. And I think that's going to be it for today. So let's go ahead and for the next time, we will do chapters 15 through the end. So I believe it's only 3 more chapters, if I'm correct. No, we actually only have 2 more chapters when I'm consulting here. And for me, as a Kindle version, it's page 255 to the end. So let's go ahead and read those, and we'll be able to wrap up our conflict here. We'll see what happens, and we're going to see our transition. We'll be able to transition from our first book to our second book of Mercy Thompson, and see how that differs from like our previous books of Dragonlance and how they transition between books. We'll get to see how we transition between one book from Mercy and to the next book from Mercy. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.